So Bruce Springsteen is speaking out against Donald Trump, and it's getting real disturbing for him. He did this whole monologue at one of his concerts recently, basically talking about Donald Trump and all the disturbing stuff he's doing right now. It's fascinating to listen to. So I want to listen to just like a little bit of his monologue on stage there. But first, let me just point something interesting out. I have some articles open about this. ABC10.com is not ABC. It's not connected to ABC in any way, shape, or form, but they pretend to be a legitimate news source, and they spread all this wild far-right propaganda. Here's an example. Dried out prune, ? Corrupt and incompetent? It's getting nasty between Springsteen and Trump. That's not what's happening. It's not getting nasty between Springsteen and Trump. The president of the United States is threatening to send a musician to a concentration camp, is what's happening actually. Trump posts altered video of himself hitting Bruce Springsteen with a golf ball in ongoing feud. It's not an ongoing feud. It's a singer being about as disturbed as you can be by the fact that people are being sent to concentration camps and the president threatening to send him to one. Trump tweeted this: I see that highly overrated Bruce Springsteen goes to a foreign country to speak badly about the president of the United States. Never liked him, never liked his music or his radical left politics, and importantly, he's not a talented guy, just a pushy, obnoxious jerk who fervently supported crooked Joe Biden, a mentally incompetent fool, and our worst ever president who came close to destroying our country. If I wasn't elected, it would have been gone by now. Sleepy Joe didn't have a clue as to what he was doing, but Springsteen is dumb as a rock and couldn't see what was going on. Or could he? Which is even worse. This dried out prune of a rocker, his skin is all atrophied. You think you're using that word wrong. Ought to keep his mouth shut until he gets back into the country. That's just standard fare. Then we will all see how it goes for him. The president of the United States is threatening a singer with being sent to a labor camp, a slave labor camp, a torture dungeon, El Salvador. That is about as disturbing as it gets, for real. That is a violation of the First Amendment, freedom of speech, threatening consequences simply for speaking your mind. And again, it wasn't like he wasn't threatening Trump or anything. He just said that he's disturbed by what Trump is doing. Let's just listen to a little bit of this.
A country where I come from, where we have succeeded and where we've come up short, living up to our civic ideals and dreams. But things are happening right now that are altering the very nature of our country's democracy, and they're too important to ignore. So, first, I want to thank you for indulging me. My home, the persecuted people for their right to free speech and voicing their dissent.
This is exactly what he's being persecuted over, free speech. This is just insane.
That's happening now. In America, the richest men are taking satisfaction in abandoning the world's poorest children to sickness and death. That's happening now.
Like the cuts to U.S. aid literally got children killed. U.S. aid was like 1% of our budget or something like that. It was almost nothing. And it created goodwill and soft power around the world. And they cut U.S. aid funding, and now children are literally dying. Children have died as a result of what Elon Musk and Donald Trump did.
In my country, they're taking sadistic pleasure in the pain they inflict on loyal American workers. They're rolling back historic civil rights legislation that led to a more just society.
Yeah, like 1965 civil rights, executive orders and stuff. Civil rights are pretty clearly enshrined in the law, and there's no rolling that back, I don't think. The judicial branch affirmed it. I believe that something passed in Congress, and the executive order affirmed it also, that you can't discriminate against somebody based on like their ethnicity or their whatever. And Trump undid the executive order, to my understanding. Again, we still have the judicial decision and the legislation, but to erase the 1965 civil rights order, that's like, what is wrong with you? Why would you do that? What are you trying to accomplish?
They're abandoning our great allies and siding with dictators against those who are struggling for their freedom. They are defunding American universities.
Dude, I have to wonder, is there a line out the door right now, people leaving? I don't know. It doesn't look like it from here. Trump is a very divisive figure, in all seriousness. What he's talking about here with the universities, Donald Trump is demanding that Harvard capitulate to him in a bunch of different ways. Change their curriculum, fire anybody to the left of hunting immigrants for sport, and replace them with MAGA extremists. Give them lists of people, a bunch of different, all kinds of stuff. And if they don't, he's going to pull the billions of dollars in grants that they used to do scientific research and stuff every year. And Harvard did the right thing and stood up to it. And as a result, they're facing Trump's wrath. We need to stop framing this as a child throwing a tantrum and frame it as what it is: a dictator oppressing the people of the country. He is a baby throwing a tantrum, but we can't downplay how serious this is. I mean, make fun of his hands or whatever else, of course, but we got to make sure that we call it what it is, in my opinion. Here we go. We're going to be taking away Harvard's tax-exempt status. It's what they deserve. Why? Why is he doing that? He's doing it in retaliation for Harvard not capitulating and changing their curriculum for him, firing people to the left, and hiring MAGA nutcases. Perhaps Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status and be taxed as a political entity if it keeps pushing political, ideological, and terrorist-inspired / supporting sickness. Remember, tax-exempt status is totally contingent on acting in the public interest. They're not doing any of that. This is retaliation, plain and simple. All federal funding will stop for any college, school, or university that allows illegal protests. Agitators will be imprisoned or permanently sent back to the country from which they came. American students will be permanently expelled or, depending on the crime, arrested. No masks. Thank you for your attention to this matter. You're not allowed to wear masks on campus because the government wants to be able to identify you and pick you up afterward if you protested something that they didn't want you to protest. That's what's happening. We got to be super extra clear about what's happening right now. Harvard Gazette. Harvard won't comply with demands from Trump administration. Changes pushed by government unmoored from the law, Garber says. The university will not surrender its independence or relinquish its constitutional rights. Harvard on Monday rejected demands from the Trump administration that threaten $9 billion in research funding, arguing that the changes pushed by the government exceed its lawful authority and infringe on both the university's independence and its constitutional rights. The university will not surrender its independence or relinquish its constitutional rights, Harvard President Alan Garber wrote in a message to the community. He added, no government, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study and inquiry they can pursue. That is what Trump was trying to change. He is a dictator.
That won't bow down to their ideological demands. And they are removing residents off American streets without due process of law and deporting them to foreign detention centers and prisons. That's happening now. A majority of our elected representatives have utterly failed to protect the American people from the abuses of an unfit president and a ruthless government.
100%, absolutely.
They have no concern or idea of what it means to be deeply American. The America I've sung to you about for 50 years is real. And regardless of its many faults, it's a great country with a great people, and we will survive this moment.
It's a little optimistic there, Bruce.
Well, I actually, because I believe in the truth of what the great American writer James Baldwin would say. He said, in this world, there isn't as much humanity as one would like. But there's enough.
But there's enough? Is that what he said?
But there's enough.
Yeah, I think he said there's enough. Wow, man. I'm so deeply disturbed by what the Trump administration is doing right now, and I don't know how to fix it. But I feel like we've got to do something, man. For real. We got to do something. Just keep on keeping on, I suppose. Keep on pushing through, right? In the posts shared on the president's Truth Social X accounts, the posts of Trump hitting Bruce Springsteen with a golf ball, Trump is shown hitting a golf ball. The video then shows a clip of Springsteen, 75, tripping at one of his shows and rolling as he falls onto the stage. A golf ball appears to be added into the second clip, as if Trump was responsible for hitting Springsteen and making him fall. The post comes as the president and the Born in the USA singer have publicly traded barbs. This is terrible framing. They didn't publicly trade barbs. Springsteen was threatened by a dictator, and he didn't back down. That's what happened. I wonder if Springsteen is coming back to the country. I don't know. After what Trump said, I don't know that I would. Initially, the Trump administration replied with a statement saying that the 77 million Americans that elected Trump disagree with the elitist and out-of-touch celebrities like Bruce Springsteen. What a ridiculous thing for the Trump regime or anybody in it to say. Out-of-touch celebrities like Bruce Springsteen. Give it a rest, people, really. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. It's crazy. And I appreciate that people as big as Bruce Springsteen are standing up for it. Makes me want to listen to his music, honestly. I don't know anything about the guy. Tell me your thoughts.